Today, I, I made a particular deliberate effort, to try to make myself quite bare, today. And in bare, I mean that I will divulge some level of personal information to us because um, this is a smaller crowd, and the aim is that we want people to actually grow. You hear a lot of positive talk out there, and success talk and all of that. And the scenario, for instance, before this event that we met in this space, gave me a clear reason why it is important for us to have meetings like this. Because we are now in a society where we see a lot of people talking. We see a lot of people packaging. The package sometimes is not the content. Do you know that? I remember recently someone said that drop that title that you are using, CEO. You are not a CEO, you are a sole proprietor. You just own a business. You are not a chief executive. But you know that word CEO is something that is flung around a lot right now. And that's not to demean you. It's to put the appropriate value to what you are. If you are not leading a top organization, you are not. There are certain things that qualify a person to be a chief executive officer. There are other functions that make that position what it is. So, but we cannot say in a bid to... now, this is not to say that we should not have a good representation of ourselves, but don't overestimate. Don't overestimate. We now live in a world where what people project is a lot more super to what they actually can offer. And that's why I intend to try to be as personal and down to earth as possible so that we can learn. If we don't tell ourselves the truth, we cannot live our current realities to where we project or where we intend to be. When I just finished my master's, I had a family friend then. He's from a well-to-do home, went to a very great school, and he started organizing events, He's a bright chap. He's an intelligent guy. He started organizing events. He did the first one, 1.0, 2.0, 2.5. You know how they do it now. And I went to these meetings, he knew some important people, Obi, Ekwesili, and a few other people at that time. And maybe what he was saying at those meetings were important, But you could see an effort to, like Architect Ape has said, to become. And what you want to ask yourself is that, were there people actually listening to him? Because, it's easy because you have money, you have means to gather people. But are people actually listening to you? Do you have sway? Do you stir people? Are there people who your words mean something to them or matter to them? Because, it's easy for us to say, oh, I have funds, I have a venue, I have an idea to speak to people or whatever it is. But do you have what it takes? Do you have substance to offer? There was a scenario that played out. Sorry, I'm just doing this for a foundation because I want to get somewhere. There was a scenario that played out in the country right after Goodluck Jonathan had left, and then, if I have my information right, this lady, the former finance minister, what's her name again? No, it wasn't Desiani, Okonjo-Iweala. And the APC guys came at her that she's with all her accolades and all whatnot, she could not, put her foot down and steer the economy in the right direction. And right then on Twitter, it's like the whole world was, barraging her, and the whole Nigerian community, let me not say the whole world. And in less than a month from that scenario, she was put on the board of Twitter. And then the whole Nigerian Twitter now changed their mouths. She's a this. This is showing how important she is. How her value is cannot be changed. Forget anything that happened. It was Goodluck and his goons that... Now, what happened is that she did not need the Nigerian community to validate who she was. Do you understand what I'm saying? Her value was internal. It was an internal value that people who are rational and practical, they perceived that value and desired it in that organization. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, that is when you build a certain value in yourself. I don't know if you've heard the word headhunt before, where corporations are looking for particular persons. They poach you from a company. Sometimes they are willing to pay double of what you are earning. See, at those points, when you get to those points in your life, you are not trying to sell yourself. You are not packaging. Your value is perceived and is desired. Do you understand what I'm saying? That should be our goal. Our goal is not to be trying to amass an audience for ourselves or to try to create our own relevance. Our relevance and our value should be intrinsic. It should be internal. You must have built some sort of stuff inside of you that people desire to want to take from. And I think that is what Architect Ape has been trying to say. Because a lot of us, I was when I went through a lot of the applications and the forms and all of that, I felt this is who we are becoming. We are forcing value on ourselves without making deliberate effort to build who we are. We're in this space when we came for the first preliminary setup, and you know how young guys are with tech. Everybody wants to, I'm a coder. I'm a what, I don't know. Everybody wants to live like, they are in Silicon Valley. And I was here, and I was we're doing our thing. And I saw, forgive me, I'm a human being, I value people based on what I see. I mean, you will value them the same way too. Even the Bible says that man looks on the outside, is it not? So, these guys, looking good, frankly speaking, they were all looking cool and all that. Now, before I came up, I saw a very scruffy car downstairs. And I was imagining, what's this scruffy car doing in this tech hub? You should assume that everybody that is here is hitting for the stars, is it not? Now, only for me to realize yesterday that one of the most well-dressed persons was the owner of that scruffy car yesterday. This is not to place value on that person based on what he drives. Do you understand? But, if you will sit here and order, which are the top restaurants now? No, Ojo Elegba is good. Ojo Elegba is okay. Nkoyos. If you will sit here that you are forming techie, and they are delivering your lunch to you here, and you are spending 2,000 naira or 3,000 naira on your lunch here, let's assume you do that every day, and you drive that crap that you are driving downstairs, are you being practical? You are foolish. If not for anything, for decency, can your car not just look? Can't it just get you from A to B conveniently? But that's the world we are in. We project the image more than the content. I want to look a certain way more than what I actually have to offer. I was telling the guys, because I was appalled yesterday. I gave the guys in the car a lesson. In fact, I'm sure their ears were full because I was just talking till I dropped them off. I was telling them about, who was it now? About, yes, I remember, a family friend who he's in the tech, in the development, circle. And he's making progress, no doubt. He's in a hub like this, similar like this in Kaduna. And I heard recently that he got a cat. What are you doing with a cat? If it's not that you don't have you don't have a sense. Now, I'm not saying it is wrong to have a cat, but he's obviously getting a cat because he has seen some tech guys do it. Do you understand what I mean? There's an image in his head about how those guys live that he's trying to emulate. Beyond even, we don't even know that your craft. Is it world class yet? You are buying cats. So that when you take picture on WhatsApp status, you are showing us Pele or whatever her name is scrolling near your Mac. Now, if we brought you and we ranked you amongst the top developers in the community, maybe you are not even among the top 100. So, and I'm not against all of that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing wrong with having a fantastic life and all of that, or deciding to have a certain choice of standard of living. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying that whatever it is that you intend to project to, let there be a corresponding value in you that can match up to what you project. In fact, I would prescribe that your value should be higher than what you project. It is better to be underestimated than to be overestimated. So I was really going to roll out some of my achievements because sometimes I feel I'm underrated too much. But I don't think there's time for that. So I will just go to what I feel is the crux of what I want to share, and then I will still touch on the informal sector. But I want to touch on these two, and maybe I'll add one more. Human value. What makes an individual? How much time have I used? Franca, how much time have I used? 10. Okay. So, what makes a human valuable? What makes you valuable? One of the reasons why you must answer that question is because there is a every person, every one of us here is searching for some sort of sense of belonging. A sense of, you want to be a person of worth. It's the reason why sometimes you dress a certain way, you drive what you decide you want to drive, you live where you want to live, or you hang out sometimes with even the people you hang out with. Everybody wants to be valued. Do you understand? You want to be sure. I mean, that's why people also go for titles and positions. Do you understand? When you want to be, you want that when you step in the place, they say, this is Professor ABC. This is Doctor, this is, whatever it is. It is because you want a sense of value. You want to be of significance in the society. I hope I'm not saying things above your head. I hope I'm not sounding too technical. So that's what drives us a lot of times. Now, but before you see, because if you sit where you are and say, I want to be a person of significance, I want to be known, I want to have value, and you say, therefore, I will be what's the word now? Let me say, I'll be the richest man in Nigeria. And you do all you can to become the richest man. Now, assume you now become the richest man. And then something happens that takes away your wealth. Is your value lost? Do you get my point now? So you want to be, let me use something that has been commonly posited, how do you say it has been proposed. Let me assume that a lot of us here want to become public speakers. Now you all become well-known public speakers around the world. You are John Maxwell's peers. And then something happens. You are involved in an accident and you lose your voice. What happens to your value at that time? What happens to your value? Who are you? Since you are no longer the public speaker, are you of value? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? In that position that we gone for, when we arrive there, when we buy the car, when we build the house, when we are known, whatever it is, if we lose all of that in a second, can we still stand up wherever we are with our chest, with boldness and say, I am A, B, C, D person? And I will not be cowered by my seeming insignificance. If you can establish that first force in your heart, you are in a very good place. Because it will help you against all these things, this facade, this screen that everybody puts up. Because I will tell you, everybody don't have it figured out. So, human value. What makes a human being valuable? Away from what the person wears, away from what the person drives, away from the title that is associated with that person, what gives a human being value? Your value must always be intrinsic. It must be internal. Your value cannot be associated with titles. It cannot be associated with your outward wealth, your possession, or stuff like that. Your value is internal. If you are a religious person, I dare say that God gave you your value. And this is what your value is. I want you to listen. You may want to call it your talent, your gifting, whatever it is. But there is something that you have, is an ability to do uniquely from every other person. And that is what you must always look at as your worth. There is something about you that makes you unique. There must be something that you have a magic wand over. Do you understand what I mean? There must be something that when you are in this space, you are energized. You are the right man for that job. And sometimes, it might not be anything unique in itself. It might be, I don't know how to describe, permit me to use the word a virtue. Now, what I'm telling you now, we cannot completely explore everything about human value right now. I cannot tell you, this is how you get your own intrinsic value. I will not be able to explore all of that, that topic. But I want you to settle it somewhere in you. That what makes you you, what makes you tick, is not your externals. Is what is in you. It's what there's something about you that makes you you. And when I say sometimes it might not be a talent, like maybe it's art, sometimes it can be hard work. Hard work, putting your back against the putting effort. Put your back against the grind and pushing it to see it through. But you must, and I want to say this. Sometimes when we talk about talent and when we talk about giftings, we begin to think of something outer worldly, something. It's not always that. Sometimes you can build your value, your internal value. You can tell yourself, I want to be a hardworking person. I want that to be the thing that I will be known by. I want to be a person of integrity. I want people to know that if they give me 5 naira, they will get the value of 5 naira. Are you getting what I'm saying? We're talking about what? Human value. So that, because you need to understand that when we establish what our value is, it's not confined to, like I said, those outwardly materialistic things. But I can assure you that if we develop those internal things, they give us those outwardly things. You cannot see, I will tell you this. I've been in a private enterprise for at least 10 years. And I can tell you this for sure. You cannot see a hardworking person that a boss will not like. You think hard work is overrated? You cannot see, I can tell you this for free. I have people who work under me. Once you see someone who is hardworking, even if that person doesn't get it right, you will reward that person's hard work. You don't know how lazy people are. Maybe until you employ people or people work under you. You don't know how people don't want to think. See, and I'm not trying to be insulting. But the level of complacency sometimes will amaze you. I mean, there's for goodness sake, there's Google. If there's anything that you don't know in this world, have you gone to Google and said, I've searched, sir, this thing say I should do, I've searched the internet, it's not there. They will not even tell you that one first. They'll just tell you, I don't know what to do. And just see, I'm telling you this, simple hard work is a problem. So when we tell you things like integrity can be an intrinsic human value, I know what I'm telling you. In our circle of in our industry, if you meet a person that has integrity, if you meet a person that has integrity, someone that will tell you that we bought this biro, 5 naira. Then you went to the market, it was 5 naira. Or 5 naira, 2 kobo. You can literally give your life to that person. In our profession, Abi Chris. When they'll tell you cement is not 2.5. In this place it's 2.8 because the bicycle, the tire. Because our profession you have to deal with a lot of money. And sometimes it's those marginal costs that blow up the cost of a contract. So sometimes when you say, I want you to watch over this thing for me, purchase chairs, paint this place, and then the things, in fact, sometimes it's so absurd. The things that you know, the person ought to know you know. The person is telling you is not. So when I tell you integrity is self. If someone can say, give this guy your life, he will keep it for you. It's a fantastic human value. See, let me tell you, integrity alone and hard work will get you to places where your talents and your abilities will never get you. So when we're talking about human value, what makes you tick? What is this thing they always talk about brand. This is the real brand. When they call your name, what is synonymous to you? Is it excellence? You don't need to do research I've not talked about informal sector. I may not, frankly speaking. If you want to not, go and watch the video on YouTube. What makes, when you do a little research, I'm the kind of person that will get to that objectivity. I'm the kind of person that I try to assess things based on, you understand? Let's be practical. When we put one and one together, this is what it gives us. So I asked myself, I know a few people around me. That's PDP. It was just 10 minutes. So I put two and two, about a few successful people around me. And one thing I realized is that all successful people around me, they don't take a break. You might think I'm lying or I'm joking. Try it. Find around. Just just look at a few people around you that you know, that you might be close to, that are successful. I won't tell you Architect Apezo. I won't, he's your mentor now, so let me not. But he doesn't take a break. We work on Christmas. Let me not expose him further. Let me not expose him further. So if you think you were in your corner, I'm an entrepreneur. I have my time to myself. You don't know what that thing means. It means that the time you have to yourself is for hard work. Is that you don't have closing time. When I met Architect Ape, if I'm lying, he's here. Architect Ape could use Microsoft Excel. He could use CorelDRAW. He could use SketchUp. He could use Revit. Which one again? The one he did not know, he told me, he said, Uche, the reason why I don't know this one is that I want to pay somebody to do it. Now, for the first 4 years in Minds and Lines, I was not doing any design. You will not understand what I'm saying. As in, I'm an architect too, and I'm not a bad architect. I was the second best in my class. And he knows. Now, there was no design. A client will bring a brief, and they'll say, design this thing. There was none that I did. It's when he finished, he will give me. Go on. In our profession, they call those people draftsmen. I was a draftsman for 4 years with masters. You want to be an entrepreneur? It is now that he will say, you do this one, you do this one. You can hear him saying micromanage. I will not expose him further. I will not expose him further. I have someone else, fantastic person. The person's major client is the governor of Sokoto. The governor of Sokoto, who was once he was the Speaker House of Reps, Tamboa. That's her major client. You need to see, her work ethic is crazy. I've not seen someone who wakes up at night to be looking for flights for people. People are sleeping. You are looking for flights. Work ethic. Human value. It is that value that makes them replicate wealth. It is not that packaging. So, human value, objectivity. What is objectivity, or what is the application in what I'm trying to say? Objectivity is looking at a scenario for what it is. One of the things I was going to tell us here was that I own a house in Abuja. My own house. And for you, maybe you are the son of a Nigerian prince. Or you know how those Yahoo boys say it. You are part of, you are an heir. Owning a house in Abuja is not success to you. Is it? If you are a prince, owning a house in Abuja cannot be success to you. Do you understand what I mean? But to me, it was success. Now, if that man was going to judge his own growth, his own progress, do you understand? He cannot judge it on the same terms as I will. Because the resources available to him are not the same with me. The same way the resources that I have, I cannot compare with a child who has grown up in the hinterland, isn't it? I have an education. It is false for me to assume that because that boy is still fetching water or is learning a trade, I am more successful than him. It's not true. It's not objective reasoning. Because success or your progress is based on how much, like Adekta said, how much of information you have had and how much of that you have used to its best to maximize, how much you have to maximize that information you've had. So I'm saying this because you must be able to judge yourself fairly. You must be your own judge. You must be able to sit down at home and tell yourself, I have this, I should be doing better than what I'm doing now. And then you should also be able to tell yourself that this guy has this and I don't have it. I may not be where he is now, but I can if I do A, B, C, D thing. It does two things to you. It motivates you at the right time, and it makes you not to break your head about certain things. Objectivity. I'm not saying this to make you a mediocre. I'm telling you this so that you can sleep well at night with the effort you have put in developing yourself. So that you don't kill yourself. Where I was 8 years ago, fresh out of graduate school, I knew where my peers were. Do you understand? But now my peers look at me and they're like, Uche is too busy for us. Uche is snubbing us. My friend is having his wedding anniversary party. He invites everybody, does not invite me. It's obviously spite. Uche doesn't have our time. But at that time, I was the Jew man. No? Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? At that time, I would ask myself, am I doing the best I can to be the best in what I'm doing? I had to keep, these things I'm telling, those were the things I kept telling myself. My value is not in what I have. It's not in what I have at the time. It's that if I have a plan, if I have a focus, if I put myself into my plan and my dream, this is where it can get me to. And I will tell you then, my dream is not even close to what of the things I'm thinking now. I said like Tektape how my dreams were too small. I had achieved my dreams in 2 years? Maybe because I was being too pessimistic, probably. But if you are objective with yourself, you will not run yourself down excessively, but at the same time, you will not be a mediocre. Because deep down inside of you, you know. Do you know we know? Everyone knows their capacity. I cannot tell you, if I tell you some of the achievements my own peers have made, you will probably be insulting me with the achievements that I have made. I have people who were peers in secondary school who are in MIT. Their faces have graced their websites. I can give you at least 2 or 3 names. There's a guy now who has received $100,000, 100,000 euros. He was on the Mandela Washington Fellowship. He just go research the guy. RX All. His name is Bayo Alonge. Bayo, I myself am Bayo. Bayo, myself, Uzo Peters. We sat down in our campus, our secondary school then, and we read for JAM the same time. So I'm telling you this so that you yourself know. You know your capacity. I'm not telling you this so that you can, what's the word? To pet yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself. No. I'm telling you this so that you can be objective. To say, okay, this is where I'm at, but this is where I can be. Objectivity. Thank you very much.